It's Friday, February 17th, 2023. Welcome to a new backcountry snowpack summary brought to you by North Shore Rescue. These are the days we live for, so let's not go out and kill ourselves. We got 40 centimeters of really nice, good quality snow in the last 24 hours, 28 overnight. Which brings me into a little discussion about Avalanche Bulletin. When we go out, it's important to validate the weather forecast that was used for the bulletin. So if you're looking at Avalanche Canada last night, they were calling to maybe 5 to 15 centimeters overnight. Turns out it was much closer to 30 overnight. So this morning, traveling around, pretty widespread skier triggered avalanches up to size 2, crowns ranging from 30 to 40 centimeters. Not incredibly touchy, but certainly anything steep that you put a ski cut on is likely to slide. Now, we haven't really seen any natural activity up to this point, but the weather is a little bit uncertain. There's a little bit of blue sky there on my right. And if the sun comes out and starts to bake that new snow, I really wouldn't be surprised to see some natural activity. Slabs up to size 2 again this afternoon. So if you want to know more about the snowpack and what those avalanches are sliding on, please stick around for the snowpack discussion. West aspect at just over 1,300 meters. This is what we find. So I guess the biggest dominant feature in the snowpack is this crust here. When you look at it up close, you can see it's actually nice clear ice, and that was from a freezing rain episode that happened last Sunday. And then after that, we had, dribs and drabs throughout the week. So yesterday morning, this crust was only under 5 centimeters of snow. And so in the last 24 hours, we added in this site just a little bit more than 45 centimeters on top of that 5 centimeters. And this crust here seems to be the problem. Yesterday, as we were ski cutting, it was within the storm snow that we're getting reactivity. Today it really seems to be sliding directly on the crust. So that's maybe a source of concern in the sense that what we're dealing with might not be just strictly a storm snow instability. It might take a little bit longer to heal. That remains to be seen. So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on this interface with the crust for a little while. The crust itself varies quite a bit in thickness. In some areas it's quite thick and supportive, in others you can punch through. And when we're traveling through the snow this morning, there's certainly no shortages of signs of instability. First off, you're sinking up to your knees. Then, in convex cities, you get shooting cracks, and there's several places where we got womping. And the womping is probably due to that, these areas where the crust is thinner and it's collapsing, because under the crust is actually pretty rotten. It's actually quite bad snow. And so when we're trying to do some compression tests, if you isolate the column, you end up having very easy results, which is the column failing as you're cutting it. But it's not so much the layer of concern that's failing, it's that rotten snow underneath that's just falling apart as you're cutting the column. Now, this crust here does offer pretty good bridging, and even if it were to step down underneath the crust, it's not like you're going to add a whole lot of mass to your avalanches. So the interface with the crust is a problem. The rotten snow underneath the crust is a problem. But beyond that, as you dig down further, everything is pretty well settled. So today, we probably got the best skiing we've had all season on the North Shore. However, I have to be careful when I say that, because we also have had multiple avalanches in steep terrain. So it's definitely a day to go out and enjoy the snow, but be very conservative in your terrain. And we're getting, you know, crowns of up to 40 centimeters. That's quite a bit of snow. Really be mindful on the North Shore about terrain traps. So a small avalanche, maybe a, you know, 40 down and only 5 meters wide, is not very big, but if it pushes you into a tree well or into a creek or something like that, it can have some very serious consequence, because that's still quite a bit of snow. So that's all I have for this week. Stay safe, enjoy the new snow, and we'll see you next week.